These are metal standards that we use when we do water quality.
From the deep rural area of Flagstaff in the Eastern Cape to university professor Philiswa Nomgongo says her journey through education was not easy, as her mother could not afford her tertiary education. Nomgongo is an analytical chemistry lecturer at the University of Johannesburg.
No, it was never an easy one. First of all, it was, for me, to be honest, it was even difficult to apply for the university. For me to apply, the school helped me because my mom could not afford even 150 to apply to get to in the institution. Now you can imagine how will it be if I cannot afford to enter, how will I register? Then I would say I was blessed enough to be able to get NFSAS, to register and study. But now NFSAS, I know everyone will attest with this, is not always enough, because for me, yes, we used to get money for food, but now I had to think of my mother and my siblings at home. I used to share a 600 rand with them, which was a 600 rand for 2 months, but now I had to make sure that, because this is what I want, the rest of the other things will wait, will just have to wait, or whatever I would want to look out for. And you know, these days we want fancy things, because I did not even have a fancy thing. I remember I had only 2 skirts that I would change over a week. Like this week I'll wear my skirt and then something, and it never bothers me because I knew what I wanted.
The 33-year-old wife and mother of 3 says she was inspired by a high school teacher to take up chemistry.
The chemistry part, if I can say it was driven by my teacher back in high school. Remember, I come from deep rural areas. The only thing that we know was a doctor, nurse, and you know, at that time when I was doing my matric, then there was my chemistry teacher was the one that always inspires us on, you can do anything, that when you get to the university, choose things that you can do. Then when I went to the university, I applied for like engineering and other things. But when I reached the university, there was chemistry, because it's something that I never heard about. And in high school, I loved math and chemistry. Then I was like, oh, there is such a degree, let me choose this degree and do it. Then I actually enjoyed it a lot, and I don't regret why I chose it, because even today, I'm still enjoying what I do.
Nomgongo says she loves science because it opens up your mind.
Okay, what I love about science is the independency in terms of thinking. It actually trains you you can do anything that you want to do if you did science. That's what I believe, because you learn all aspects of things and you are able to think. And I always tell, especially my children, that I can actually be a lawyer while I'm a scientist, because it helps you, it opens up your mind to think beyond the scientific world.
The University of KwaZulu-Natal and UG alumni says young people should always stay hopeful despite challenges.
In most cases, young people, we tend to be demoralized by other things, or we tend to lose hope. I think no matter what, in whatever situation you are in, either you are not you are not at university, you would love to go to the university, or you are still looking for a job. I think it's the best thing is to keep that hope, that light, and like you always have that hope that one day something will happen. Because in a way, sometimes we tend to count years. I want to go to the university. It's been 2 years. I haven't got the space, or I do not have money. But I think keep on pushing is something that will take us somewhere as a youth of South Africa.
She's a mentor and supervisor of 7 PhD and 8 master's students, and a co-supervisor of an additional 6 postgraduate students. Professor Nomgongo is a recipient of the South African Women in Science Award, and in 2014 she received a L'Oreal UNESCO for Women in Science postdoctoral fellowship.
One thing that I can say is that I believe in myself, and I always believe no one will tell me this one is fit for Philiswa, this one is not fit for Philiswa. I always do this and say, I want to hear from, if it's an application, I want to hear from the person I applied to that I don't qualify and why. I don't want the influence around me saying, no, you don't qualify because of A, B, C, D. I always read the condition and say, oh, I think I qualify here and I believe I can apply, and I want to hear from the person that give us the application, what is it that, why do I don't qualify. And the judgment around me, like people that will say you do this, whatever they say, they actually, negative for me, it's a good thing. It helps me, because if you say this is not good for you, I always want to do the opposite, because it actually drives me through to do whatever people they don't believe I can do.
Another mover and shaker in the science world is 28-year-old geologist Tebogo Makubela. He has traveled the world and has had his research published in prestigious journals. Makubela, who's also worked on finding the origins of Homo naledi, says he chose geology because he was inquisitive.
Why I chose geology is very interesting. Honestly, it started with being inquisitive at a very young age. I remember vividly I was sitting by the fire with my grandmother, and she kept on putting coals into the fire. And I asked her, why are you only putting these black rocks and not putting the other stones from the other rocks? And she said the others don't burn. And I said, why don't they burn but this one burns? And she couldn't answer me. And that was like my first love with geology, because I had so many questions about this black rock that burns and others that do not burn. And that I started learning about rocks and wanting to know more about rocks, and one thing led to another.
The Soweto-born achiever says students are not doing geology for the love of the field, but for money.
Okay, so the challenges that are facing young people in my field, geology particularly, is that they are not doing it for the love of the field, but for the love of the money. Well, I think in South Africa it is a known fact that when you study geology, you get the opportunity to go and work in the mines, and mines pay a lot of money to geologists or professionals. So you end up having people wanting to learn geology just to end up working in a mine and earning a lot of money. But because they don't like what geology really is, they end up struggling with their studies, and some do not complete. And those who complete, they complete studying geology with depression. And I think that is very challenging. They should want to study it to know more about our earth, and also to learn more about rocks and the field itself.
He says if they do science for the passion, they will succeed.
Okay, my message to young people is that do what you love and choose what you're passionate about, because the moment you do that, then you are going to invest all your energy into it, and you will therefore excel. So if you choose science for the love, trust me, the money will follow, the money will come. Because when you love science and you're doing science, your science will excel, and therefore you will be in demand, by different research institutions and different universities, and money of course has to follow at that stage as well. But if you go into science and geology, for example, without the love, then it is going to be difficult for you to make that money, because your research or your geology work is going to be very mediocre at best, and no one will want to give you that high-end, top-paying job in geology or whatever field of science. So whether it is science or commerce or whatever other field, do it for the love, and you will excel and you will be happy. Because remember, the importance of living is to live a happy life, and you can only do that when you are doing something you're passionate about.
Makubela, who's busy with his PhD, studying the cave development and landscape evolution in the cradle of humankind and surrounding areas as his thesis, has called on the youth to invest time in learning.
And I think it is important for our youth to realize that they need to slow down. I feel our youth today is in such a hurry to do adult things, you know. And I would like to say, be young, enjoy being young, grow yourself as a youth by investing your time in learning how to improve yourself before you go on to want to do adult things such as drugs. For example, alcohol is drugs. If you're drinking under the age of 18, well, it is not going to help you with your life in the long term, you know. So I'd say be young, enjoy your youth by learning and growing yourself.
Another young achiever is 26-year-old Shonisani Modau, who is new to the science field. She recently started working as a biochemist at a Pretoria-based pathological lab.
What I love about science is that there's always something new. There's always something new to research. There's always new fields opening, so there's always so many doors. It's a broad subject per se, and it involves so many other things. So it involves a whole lot. It's a complex, let me say, and if I were to put it in pieces, it would be a lot. But I like the fact that there's new opportunities all the time, especially in research.
However, she says in high school there was no exposure to science.
I would say in science, there's always the saying when you grow up that science is the most difficult subject. However, I feel like that's a myth, and if there's a lot of people who did it, why can't you? And there's in high school there's not a lot of exposure per se. The high school that I went to, we didn't have so much exposure. Like, we didn't have our own lab. It was more theoretical work, not practical, which was one of the challenges. However, there was where we would go for excursions, and then there was a program in Saibono, which actually was one of the opportunity that opened my eyes for me to love science.
Modau, who was raised by her mother, has encouraged young people to follow their passion.
I would rather say follow their passion, because now you can't just go into science and then you end up working in the lab, which would be an environment that doesn't even get you excited, or end up working with something that you don't enjoy. So I'd rather follow what you love and your passion.
The biochemist says students attempting to join the science field must be determined.
Even though they tell you it's hard, it's not hard, you can do it. All that you need determination, and tell yourself what you want to achieve at the end of the day. And the most important thing is working hard and enjoy mathematics and science.
Modau also encourages undergraduates to further their studies in science.
I would say, as a young person, research is exciting in terms of science. I would encourage young or students that are still in undergrad to further their studies. There's just still a lot. Hence, I'm saying there's a lot of opportunities in science. It's either you can go into an industry like I am now at the moment, or you can further on into your postdoc in research. And with research, there's always an open door for that.
Lebo Changela, SABC News, Johannesburg.